silent handphone dulu. Ohazura, bentar minum dulu. Aku literally kayak jadi tadi aku kayak keasikan. I was too invested in making this weekly schedule. I kind of forgot the time, and then I realized it was like 7:30, and I hurried to take a shower, and I just finished taking a shower, and then I just have to hurry up, and ya begitu. Jadi kayak tadi aku buru-buru, jadi kayak aku baru kayak huha gitu. Minum dulu guys. Dan Ohazura. Good evening everyone. Welcome back to my stream. My name is Azura Cecillia titik. Dan today we're gonna play the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, and we're gonna play from the episode 4 finally. Alik niat bikin schedule tiap minggu. Iya. Tapi setelah aku bikin schedule, aku kayak merasa aku tidak ada kelupaan sesuatu kan. I just hope that I do not forget anything though. Malam Zola, let's go. By the way, semoga kalian semua sudah makan. I hope that you guys have eaten your dinner yet. So yeah, Clouded Kokoro. Oh wait, is that like Kokoro like a name of person, or they like doesn't translate hard? Huh. The Adventure of the Clouded Kokoro. Okay, let's go. By the way, do you guys like my schedule? I enjoyed making the design for this week. I hope that you guys like it. Day is sunny, but Kokoro is cloudy. Aww.
時折僕は思うのだよ、ワトソン。ホームズは物憂げに首を振り言った。我々が目にする事件は本当にそれが全てなのだろうか。その裏側に誰も知るもののない物語が隠れているかもしれない。ハーブティーから立ち上る湯気を追うその夢見るような眼差しの先には、きっとあの雪の日の夕刻の情景が浮かんでいたのだと思う。ブライヤーロードの歩道に倒れ伏した若い女性とその背に刺さった狂人。ガス灯の明かりが柔らかく切り取った奇怪な事件現場の情景。不可解な姿なき犯人の事件は薄い霧の中静かに幕を開けたのだった。
British Supreme Court Lord Chief Justice Office. Did you sleep last night, Mr. Naruhodo? No, not at all. Oh no. It was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? The rooms were so luxurious, I felt like we were staying in a palace. And with all the gas lights... Haha, gaslight. Haha, gaslight. Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. It was brighter than day, even in the middle of the night. What about the enormous beds? After my time on the SS Buria, I wasn't going to waste a single inch of their space. I spent the entire night rolling from one side of the mattress to the other. Oh yes, it really was a sort of night you can only dream of normally. Except, when I learned that we owed £3 for the rooms, that dream quickly turned into a nightmare. Whoops, sorry about that. The building was so impressive and the entrance so inviting, I just wandered in without thinking. In a lodging house in Japan, that sum of money will put a roof over your head for a whole year! Wow. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't help my tears when we were presented with the bill. I really am sorry. Well, never mind. We must find some more affordable lodging straight away, though. If we're not careful, our entire stipend will be used up in 10 days or less. London is a scary place. Ah, good morning to you at this early hour. Oh yes, what? Good morning to you, Lord Chief Justice. We have come to report on the outcome of the trial at the Old Bailey yesterday. Satosan is amazing. She doesn't bat an eyelid, even in the presence of the imposing Lord Strongheart. Yes, I believe he had a very comprehensive initiation into British courtroom practices. Oh yes, it was very eye-opening, thank you. And, in accordance with your instructions, Lord Strongheart, Mr. Naruhodo performed his duty to the end. Yes, I've already been apprised of the events. You conducted a remarkable defense. You may consider the task passed. Oh! No longer are you a student from the Empire of Japan. You may henceforth claim to be a fully fledged lawyer. My country is delighted to welcome young talent from such a remote eastern land. Yeah, kita pengacara. We lawyer now. And thank you very much, so I'm a lawyer now. Now, in view of your new appointment, I have a fresh case in mind for you. I'd like you to take it on at once. I trust that won't be a problem. Another case? Already? Nothing trains a lawyer better than practical experience. I'm sure. I don't sense dissatisfaction, do I? It's just that yesterday's trial ended unusually. I haven't quite come to terms with it. What's to come to terms with? The man was cleared. What more were you hoping for? Well... I think though, is it our first time, like, defending a guilty client? Or did I forget? Or did I not know another case? I feel like this is our first time in like the Ace Attorney series that we declare a guilty defendant innocent. Or did I forget? The culpability of the defendant has not, at the present time, been established by this court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to provide judgment. Well, Lord von Zig, it's been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense. Oh, not in this game, I mean like the whole Ace Attorney series. Hahaha. Pernah kok di game sebelumnya. Oh, I must have forgotten that. Just can't help wondering if Mr. McGildet really was innocent. There was that one case where the guy blackmails us, I think. Which one? I forgot. Mr. Naruhodo, it's just that I never managed to ascertain the truth, and then the trial ended. Well, you needn't let it trouble you for a second longer. The assassin butler. Oh! Is it the one that has the calling card thingy? The steel samurai one? Is it the steel samurai one? Sorry? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart? Magnus Huh? What? He died? What? What? Mr. McGildet is dead? I have 19 minutes and 41 seconds until my next engagement. Time enough to talk. What? I don't understand. What happened? How can he be dead? After the trial concluded yesterday, there was a great commotion in the Old Bailey. As you'll presumably recall, an omnibus had been wheeled into the courtroom. Yes, of course, that was the scene of the crime which Mr. McGillet had been accused of. Precisely. Well, while the bailiff's attention was diverted by some other matter, the omnibus went up in flames. No. How could such a thing have happened? That is being investigated as we speak, but already... The police have identified a corpse found inside the charred shell of the carriage as that of McGillet. That's awful! The man must have slipped inside whilst the bailiff's attention was elsewhere. That bailiff really needs to pay more attention. And how could that have happened? that is also being investigated as we speak. Thinking back now, immediately after the trial, Mr. McGilda did mention going back into the courtroom to look at the omnibus. Well, I must be making tracks now, this time for the inspection. Sorry? What inspection? They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. An inspection of the omnibus? Not to my knowledge. I don't believe Scotland Yard had any intention of re-examining the carriage. But then who was Mr. McGilda talking about? Never mind that now. The Yard is making a thorough investigation. This matter is no longer any concern of yours. Leave it to the police. Poor Mr. McGilda. I wouldn't say poor, but kinda suspicious. Not really poor though. He's kinda rich. He's stinky rich. He's not poor. Ohazura! Welcome, welcome. So how did you find your first taste of our country's Supreme Court? Oh well, I don't know. I mean, it was wow! Mr. Naruhodo means that the whole experience was steeped into the solemnity of Great Britain's long history. Thanks for translating, Susato. It's really a world apart from our own judicial system in Japan, which is only a few short decades old. Wow, Susato-san has such a way with words. And you seem to have a way of failing to find the right ones. The judicial system here is the most advanced in the world. Learn all you can. The most advanced in the world, is it? It was fortunate that your very first trial was a simple affair. Simple? That was simple? As I believe I mentioned yesterday morning, it was a trial you couldn't lose. Ah, I don't mean to be contrary, Lord Strongheart, but the case was anything but simple. Well, technically, I can't lose, I guess. The circumstances of the case were so incriminating, I was stunned when I first heard them. In fact, I'm still finding it hard to believe that we managed to get a favorable verdict. Ha ha ha. Is something funny? No, my apologies. However, the fact is that you did receive the not guilty verdict you set out to achieve. And that can only be attributed to exceptional talent, wouldn't you agree? Well, I don't know about that. Well, never mind. You exceeded my expectations. I freely admit that much at least is an undeniable truth, which is precisely why I have prepared the new case for you that I mentioned before. What's going on? What was he going to say before? What? Ano di ba ngomong apa? Oh, I see. Could you perhaps give us some more details about the new case you mentioned? Don't tell me it's a murder and the trial starts in 10 minutes. Don't worry, it's nothing so alarming or quite so urgent as your last assignment. In fact, this case is completely different. Oh, I see. Did he just read my mind? That is to say, no one has died as yet. And the trial will not be today. There is plenty of time to research the case thoroughly. Wait, nobody has died yet? 23 hours, 43 minutes, and 19 seconds to be precise. So the trial's tomorrow then. Is everything alright? Oh yes, I'm just a little confused, that's all. Yesterday's trial was, well, it's left me wondering if I'm really cut out for being a lawyer. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo, I don't know if I could face standing in that courtroom again after Mr. McGilda's trial. Oh yes, I nearly forgot. There is one similarity with yesterday's case. Once again, there is currently no one to advocate for the defense. Oh, if the situation remains unchanged, the trial will start tomorrow with the defendant unrepresented. And if that happens, I need not remind you of the inevitable outcome. The most terrible end awaits the defendant. Yes, that's right. Oh, here we go again. Ohazura, welcome yang baru datang. Welcome. Halo. Your time is up. We will have to excuse me. I would advise you to begin making preparation for tomorrow's trial. After all, the clock is ever ticking. There is now but 23 hours, 26 minutes, and 39 seconds until the court sits. Last time he mentioned the 23 hours, he said there was plenty of time. And one more thing, Mr. Naruhodo. There is something I should like to ask you. Oh, what's that? Yesterday you remarked upon something. That you intend to see through the will of your late compatriot, Mr. Asogi. I would be interested to hear what exactly you mean by that. Inside 34 seconds. Oh well, Kazuma always used to say, you see, that he wanted to learn how the greatest justice system in the world works so he could change ours in Japan. Now that he's gone, I'd like to work towards it myself. And there's another thing. Oh! Another thing. Continue. On the way here on the steamship, he said something to me. There's something very important I have to do. Something very important? And what exactly would that be? He never had a chance to tell me. I suppose he would have done if he'd ever made it to Great Britain. You're out of time. Well, thank you for an enlightening discussion. Mr. Naruhodo, what's all this about? Mr. Asogi never once mentioned anything of the sort to me. Man, Kazubro, every time Kazubro is mentioned, it makes me sad. I urge you both to focus your attentions on the matter at hand. I've taken the liberty of summoning the police inspector in charge of the case. He'll be able to apprise you of the details. How long has he been there? So I wish you the best of luck and bid you farewell. There's something very important that I have to do. Kazuma-sama, what did you mean? I wish I knew, but honestly, he never told me. Anyway, we had better talk to the detective, don't you think? Yes, you're right. Is he carrying potato chips? Or like fish and chips? What a very English gentleman. I hope I'm just imagining it, but I wouldn't say he looks pleased to see us at all. Oh, he's eating fish and chips. Oh, itu ka-refill. Bisa ka-refill, guys. Could we trouble you? What do you think? I am lovely weather, isn't it? Weather deck. What's the weather got to do with anything? Ugh. Listen to me, you young Japanese upstart. Some frippery about the weather doesn't get very English jet in and out of your head, you know? I now want fish and chips. It's been a while since I ate fish and chips. Now I want to eat fish and chips. But Sato-san told me it was foolproof. I'm a busy man, a very busy man. There's a crime scene to investigate, but I'm here having to give the likes of you a talking to. Oh, I'm ever so sorry. Can you imagine what the other officers there will be saying, huh? Haven't seen Gregson anywhere, have you? No, he's too busy with the big wigs these days. And all because of some bumpkin who's here on a job from a country I've never even heard of. Hear that rip sound? That's my reputation at the yard going to taters. There's no need to rip us apart as well. I don't believe we've been introduced. This is Mr. Yunosuke Naruhodo, a defense lawyer. Eh? It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Su. Eh? It's a lovely weather we're having today, isn't it? It is unseasonably fun, I grant ya. London winters don't see a lot of sunshine. Unbelievable! How did she pull that off? So, Lord Stronghold has asked me to fill you in on the case. The name Tobias Gregson, Inspector Gregson to y'all. I'm from Scotland Yard. Gregson? Inspector Gregson? What's the matter with Sato-san? Does this detective name mean something to her? Inspector, are you perhaps... The Inspector Gregson? You're acting like you know this man, Mrs. Sato, but he's a London detective. Oh, I do know him very well, in fact. Very well? Yes, he features prominently in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Oh! Oh, in that publication. What's it called again? Ron's magazine? That's right. Inspector Gregson and Mr. Holmes enjoy a wonderful, friendly rivalry. Really? You rival the great Mr. Holmes? That's incredible. Well, I don't know about that. Mr. Holmes isn't a professional like myself, of course, but he does come up with the goods from time to time. Mr. Holmes is equally complimentary about you, Inspector, isn't he? You've earned his highest praise. Gregson is the pig of a bad lot of all the Scotland Yarders. Those were his own words. That's his highest praise? Well, Mr. Holmes is particularly known for giving compliments, you see. That he is not, and thanks to the magazine, my name is known all over London town now. That's great, isn't it? I have to admit that to start with I was a little, well, flattered by all the attention. Everyone wanted to shake my hand and my reputation at the yard went through the roof. Well, that's wonderful. No, it is not. There's nothing more sinister than the man on the street. People are always looking at me now. They're whispering rumors about me under their breath, I'm sure. Rumors? Are you quite sure? He's changed since he started appearing in those stories. The fame's gone to his head, stuff like that. Gosh, do you really think people are saying such mean-spirited things about you? Like I said, they whisper, so I can't catch exactly what they're saying, but I know what folk are like. I'm sure that's what they're saying, as sure as eggs is eggs. I got the feeling this detective could be very hard work. Oh dear, perhaps the sudden rise to fame that's changed people. So, about the case that the Lord Chief Justice mentioned before. Nothing to tell, really. As far as we're concerned at the yard, it couldn't be simpler. Oh there, that probably means that as far as we're concerned as lawyers, it couldn't be more complicated. I wish you were wrong about that, but I have a nasty feeling you're right. A young woman was walking along the pavement on the Briar Road when she was stabbed from behind. Fortunately, it wasn't fatal, but she's still laid up in hospital unconscious. That's despicable. What sort of coward will attack the poor woman from behind? I suppose you would have finished whoever it was up with the to take down, would you? That is neither here nor there, Mr. Naruhodo. Brace yourself, Ryunosuke, you've angered her now. Anyway, after something of a whirlwind investigation, the criminal was arrested. He barely had time for a cup of tea after the incident took place, to be honest. So there must have been something left at the scene that led you directly to the culprit. Or perhaps a reliable witness who recognized the person in question? Let me stop you right there. You're wasting your time on this one. Sorry? There's nothing you can do. There's no way to have the blow now. Why ever not? Simple. The prosecutor that's been assigned to the trial tomorrow is Lord Battle Fan 6. Let's go! Yes! What do you mean in the skin low? Yes! Sounds like you've heard of him then. Oh yes, we are very familiar with Lord Fan 6, believed to be the harbinger of death itself, the Reaper of the Bailey. Lord Baroque Fonziot, whom we faced in court only yesterday. Mr. McGilda told us about him before the trial, didn't he? Yeah, look at that handsome face. When Fonzik stand for the prosecution, they call accused his sacrificial lambs. Chuni banget sih. Chuni banget. And in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. This Reaper of the Bailey nickname, I suppose he's earned that because every defendant he advocates against is found guilty, is that it? Well, if that's the case, we should inform you, Inspector, that in yesterday's trial against Lord Fazix, Mr. Naruhodo secured a verdict of non-guilty. What of it? Oh, well, I think that means that even against the Reaper or the Bailey, it's not impossible to save the defendant. No, you really don't have a clue, do you? What do you mean? What happened to that bloke in the end, eh? He's dead. Oh. Magnus McGill that came a cropper in that omnibus when it went up in flames. So you can't directly say you saved the defendant, can you? What are you saying? Look, if Von Zig could get dirt to stick on everyone, he'd be a miracle worker. But that's not how it goes. He doesn't work miracles. He works magic. Black magic. I'd have a good long think about that if I were you. Are we really supposed to believe that? Right, well, I filled you in as requested and I'm very nearly out of chips. So I'll be heading back to the crime scene now. We're still carrying out our investigations there. It was Briar Road, you said, didn't you? Where the incident took place? That's correct, ma'am. And if you head over to the holding cells, you can meet the criminal himself. You've branded him a criminal already? He's as good as shaking like a leaf in his cell, he is. He'll give you a chuckle if nothing else. He's inmate 53. Speak to the jailer and he'll show you that way. Inmate 53. Thank you. Haha, inmates. Seperti nama fansnya Ray Gomblim Loy. Haha, inmate. So there's no helping anyone against the Reaper of the Bailey, they say. Is something troubling you, Mr. Naruhodo? To tell the truth, when I recall the trial yesterday, I can't stop myself from shaking. The idea of facing the Reaper in court again is... Well, if you think it's too much for you, there's no shame in turning the case down. That takes courage too. But if the man they've arrested is innocent, you could well imagine he would be shaking like a leaf in his cell. And I, for one, wouldn't find the sight of that funny. So, if I'm honest, I'm still reeling from the shock of yesterday's event myself. And I'm really not sure if I'll be able to help this man, whoever he is, but I'd like to try. So I think I'm going to make some inquiries. Will you help? Did you really think you had to ask? After all, I am your judicial assistant. Thank you. So then, shall we? Yes! Let's go! Lucu banget si Sato sih. She's very cute. I like her. Well, let's go to the prison first. I'm kinda curious who our defendant looks like. Oh wow, that is a very retro jail. So these are British prison cells. Oh, they are ghastly. It feels just like a dungeon. Isn't it a dungeon? Yes, and having experienced it in Japan myself, I can assure you that our wooden cells feel a lot cozier than these cold stone walls. Oh, damn, Mr. Naruhodo, you're making it seem worse. Apparently, our client is in this cell here, but it's so dark at the back there, I can't make him out. I wonder what he's like. Inmate 53, your legal representative is ill to see you. Stop hiding at the back of the cell and show your face at once. Am I cat? Is it with no name? Calling me by a number is utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. I refuse to answer. Mr. Naruhodo, what do you think is going on here? I have no idea, but I wasn't just hearing things, was I? That tirade of complaints was in Japanese! Oh! Oh! It's a Nihonjin! Excuse me, but... Shh! Quiet! They're all around, hiding. I know they are. They're watching, listening. Even now, I can sense it. Right. So, could I ask you who... There you are! You've come to curse me, haven't you? Don't try to hide it. You're a ghost. A ghost? Wah, halu ini orang. Mental. We mean you no harm, prisoner-san. Are you Japanese by any chance? Oh. Nakama! This is beyond my wildest dreams! Yay! Nakama! Serasa ketemu sesama orang Indo di luar negeri, ada perasaan companionship gitu. Forgive me for that outburst before. I'm so sorry. Oh, it's fine. We were just a little surprised, that's all. Imagine it! It's been 12 long months since I left my hometown, and here I am, in a frightful fix in a foreign land. Aww, the happy end. So hearing the sweet sentimental tones of a compatriot voice here in this dumb, dark hellhole was a most monumentally moving moment. Who could have guessed that this new client Lord Strongheart assigned to us would turn out to be a fellow Japanese? Oh, what compassion my fellow countrymen show to dispatch a first-class lawyer all the way from Japan to defend a mere foreign student. He's a student? Noble, nurturing, never failing, Nippon! First-class lawyer? Oh dear, I think there's been something of a misunderstanding here. I wonder, would you be so kind as to tell us what's happened? Why you've been detained as a suspect, for example. Yes, I can, I will. Shall stay silent and silent. He's so extra, I swear. I'm not quite sure I understand what he means, but seems happy. Yes, he does. I just hope he actually has a good reason to be. Thank you for your cooperation. I'm a lawyer, as you said. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. He looks more like a teacher. Yeah, he looks more like a teacher than a student. And I am Naruhodo-san's judicial assistant, Susato Mikotoba. I am a visiting student sent here by our government. Notably, notoriously named Natsume. It's Soseki Natsume! Oh, yeah, the mustache. He's a Japanese author. Right? He's the one who wrote Waganeko de Aru, or I Am a Cat, I think. Soseki Natsume-san, what an unusual name. Call me Soseki, please. I'm a poet, you see, a writer of haiku. Oh, yung mukanya ada di duet. Yeah. The face that has, I mean, the face in the money. The face in the Japanese money. It's something of a nom de plume. A nom de plume? You mean an alias? That's right, Naruhodo-san. No, don't be so precise. It's much more refined than that. And haiku, that really reminds me of home. Did I hear you say that you were a visiting student sent over here by the government? Yes, that's right. A year ago, I was told to go and study English. First, I had to suffer that misery, and now this is beyond the pale. Suffer that misery? Did you not want to study here? No, I mean, I've had an interest in Great Britain for some years, of course. Oh. But just because the government tells you to do something, does it mean you can do it? No! What do you mean? If they told me to study English literature, that I could have understood. That's my field. But no, they told me to study the English language. Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. What's the difference? I mean, like, before you study literature, you gotta study language first, right? How can you study literature without studying the language? Or maybe like studying the literature but in Japanese language, I guess? I see. Only the other day I was told to send a report about my first year here. I tendered a blank piece of paper. Wise words on white washi. You must be a man of great standing. Oh yes, so I'm often told. And I would like to be told, it seems. Could you perhaps tell exactly why you've been arrested, Sasaki-san? I didn't do it! I didn't commit an atrocious murder! Murder? Oh, no, it's alright. The woman did actually die, did she? But she was stabbed with a knife right before my eyes. Before your eyes? You mean you saw the attacker? I didn't see anyone. What? If I'd seen the person who did it, do you think I'd be locked up in here? Oh dear, it seems this case is becoming rather complicated. Why me? Why me? Why did a silly woman have to be stabbed in front of me? It's the curse of London. It's incredibly, inexcusably, irritatingly inconvenient. So Sasaki-san was there at the scene, but he didn't see the attacker. It's vital that we find out more about the case. It was on a curious evening, just after the snow had started to clear and heavy with fog. I'd been to the bookshop to buy some books, and I was on my way back to my accursed lodgings. Sure, the bookshop wasn't accursed too. As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman wearing a green overcoat she was, and just as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed onto the cold hard slabs of stone at my feet. This woman is kinda round. How terrible! I called out to the woman, but she did not move. It was like a ghostly, ghoulish, grim graveyard. A slight exaggeration there, perhaps. I was terrified. I had to get away from there. So I ran, as much as my legs would carry me back to my accursed lodgings. That's not good. They'll say it was shameful, I know, to run away like that. Tell me, Sasaki-san, was the victim an acquaintance of yours? Don't be ridiculous. Do you think I know any of this fair-haired English, and a young woman at that? I'm diffident, shy, timid, unsure. I can't talk to people. I see, a young woman unknown to Sasaki-san. And at the time it happened, who else did you see nearby? Did anybody pass you? Regrettably, apart from myself and the woman, I didn't see a soul. No one? Oh, great. So the victim was unknown to you and there was nobody else on the street at the time. That creates something of a conundrum, doesn't it? What conundrum? What do you mean, Susato-san? What's the conundrum? Well, if what Sasaki-san has just told is true, there's something I can't explain. He said that he didn't know the victim and that there was no one else at the scene. He apparently fled without having been seen. I did! But if that's the case, surely this man has to be the culprit? What did you just say? Nothing! I didn't say anything. Oops, perhaps I thought that a little loudly. Actually, that's not what was troubling me. What I was thinking was, how did Sasaki-san actually come to be arrested? That is true. Sorry? He didn't touch the victim and there was nobody at the scene to see him. How did the police ever discover he was there in the first place? Oh yeah, she's right. It was him. That accursed great detective. He led the police to me. Of all the bad luck, accursed great detective? Could it be? I shall never forget that man's name as long as I live, with his haughty laugh and his self-proclaimed greatness. Brash, pig-headed, busybody, be gone. Of course it's him. May you be cursed until the end of your days, Herr Lockshams. I knew it. Mr. Sholmes? Well, I didn't expect to hear that name from this man's lips, that's for sure. It was the morning after the nightmare had unfolded on the pavement before me. I was gnawing on a silver of hard cheese when some men suddenly burst in through the door. They started shouting at me, "This is the police! Put the weapon down!" Yes, it was a thin steel sliver, and yes, it was hard, but I wasn't hitting a weapon. Disgusting! They are the discrimination devils! Devils! You clearly had a trying morning yesterday. And there he was, in the middle of all the policemen, grinning like a Cheshire cat. That! Sherlock Holmes! It's actually just Sherlock Holmes. It's his English. I've since found out that he's a famous name in detection here in London. Yes, the great detective is really very well known. And his overly sharp mind managed to deduce my whereabouts apparently. He thinks I'm the knife-wielding madman. Me, this weak, stooped kitten of a man. I wonder what the detection process led him to this conclusion this time. Do you mean to say that Mr. Sholmes' deduction was the only reason the police arrested you? That would be really most unreasonable. Well, the thing is, I was trying to panic when they barged their way in. Of course you were, that's only natural. I was terrified and trembling, and they kept throwing question after question at me in impossible English. Fiendish, foreign family. Well, we are in England, you can't really blame them for questioning you in English. Good point, but my mind went blank. I knew I had to answer, but I didn't know what to say, so I just kept repeating things like, "Yes, I do," and "I'm fine." The next thing I knew, I was in manacles, and before I knew, I was thrown in here. Oh dear, I'm afraid that's hardly surprising. I'm fine, he's not fine now. Man, although, it's kind of like sad, like, you know, you cannot understand language. You cannot understand English, foreign language, and then suddenly people accuse you of like murder. I mean, surely I would be in panic as well if somebody started asking me like questions I don't really understand. I feel sad. Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Oh, you can just call me Naruhodo, and when we are speaking English, a simple Mr. is more than enough. Oh yes, alright. Yes, they've really got to me. This country is poisoning my mind. But please, I beg you to defend me in court tomorrow. You can't tell them what really happened. You'll do it, won't you? Well, why is it so hard to say yes to me? Well, the thing is, I'm just a student like yourself, on a study tour. A student? I have defended the case in the Old Bailey, only the one though, but at this moment in time, I really don't know what I'm supposed to believe in. I'm confused about what justice in this country even means. Oh, Naruhodo-san, I'm not even the foreign student who was supposed to be here. I'm a sort of locum lawyer, I suppose. But that armband, that's the mark of a defense lawyer from our great empire. It's a keepsake from the man who should have been here. He was my best friend, Kazubro. A keepsake? I know exactly what they're saying about me. Oh, who do you mean? The lawyers, all the British defense lawyers, they won't defend me. Goodness! Why do you say that? For the same reason as you noted before. When it happened, there was only the victim and myself around, and I ran away from the scene of the crime. I'm not a fool. I know it looks as though I must be the culprit. It must be very hard for you, Soseki-san. And anyway, I'm a student from overseas. I'm just a foreign nobody to them, someone not to be trusted. I heard them openly laughing about me before, in my earshot, without any compunction at all. Any trial for this man will be a waste of time, they say, and of course the foreigner did it. They even had the gall to say the man doesn't understand half of what's being said anyway. That's awful. They're wrong. I've studied more English than half of the policemen out there on the streets. I've traveled all the way around the world to learn about this people's country and its great history. But no one here wants to listen to a man with a strange accent. They all hate me. So at the very least, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who can listen to me in my native tongue. Aww. You could do it, couldn't you? When I look into your eyes, I can see it. I can see what you've been through. Sasaki-san, it's just that... Give me a little time, please. I'll do what I can for the time being. What do you mean? We shall investigate the case as thoroughly as possible. If we can find some clues, it will give us a much better chance, I'm sure. Oh yes, thank you. I'll be here, all alone, waiting for you. Welcome, student Mr. Naruhodo Squad. We should be going then, Mr. Naruhodo-san. We have a case to prepare for. He got arrested because his ego was in Jozu. No, ego Jozu. Briar Road. Ah, that's a snowman. So this is where it happened. Briar Road. Oh, look, Mr. Naruhodo. Look at that regulation metal helmet. It's unmistakable. The men of Scotland Yard are here. They're investigating as we speak. That is their job, you know? But Mr. Naruhodo, to see one with my own eyes. They're often depicted in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, but I never dreamt I'd ever come this close. To a real Bobby's helmet. What? The helmet? Of course. I have to try one on one day. Well, I hope your happy dream comes true. What's the Japanese delegation doing here? Oh, Inspector Gregson. This is on the tourist trail, as I'm fairly sure you're well aware. Yes, of course, we're here to investigate. So you've been to the holding cell still? What do you make of the criminal? He's not a criminal as you put it, Inspector. He's a suspect. We'll see about that. Your Japanese like to stick together, I suppose. Well, do what you will. It doesn't bother me. Blokes in court tomorrow, whatever happens. I'm a foregone conclusion. The stone cold air of rejection. Take heart! London at this time of year is full of stone cold air. That makes it worse somehow. Tell me about Scotland Yard, Inspector. Ever since I read about it in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, I've been fascinated by the place. The Yard is the most sophisticated policing organization you'll find anywhere in the world, ma'am. Oh, and you know, I've always dreamt of wearing a real Bobby's helmet. It does make them look the part, seeing that policeman there with his helmet on. You certainly get the sense that this is a man who will take no nonsense in his duty of protecting the city. Oh yes, doesn't he look wonderful? Being along with Bobby's hot going, I can't tell ya. Oh really? First thing in the morning, you know what he does? Goes round and rounds all the libraries on his beat so they can get up to work. What? He wakes people up? I've always wondered why it's called Scotland Yard when it's in England. Wait, Scotland and England is different? Are they far away? Yup, wraps on the window with a long pole. Did myself going bad a bit? I had no idea. The Bobby works for the people of the town. It's just another one of his duties. After that, he starts tirelessly patrolling the streets all day long. He has to cover 20 miles a day. That's the regulation distance. Can't really imagine how far that is, but it sounds like a long way. 20 miles, sorry. 20 miles to kilometer. 32 kilometer? What? That's... Even by car, that's like quite far, right? Let me see. 20 miles, that's approximately the distance from Tokyo to Yokohama. On foot? That's definitely taking things a step too far. And when it gets dark, of course, he has the important job of lighting all the gas street lamps. Oh my! And I suppose in between all those duties, bobbies are expected to investigate cases as well, and chase after criminals trying to evade the law. I'm not sure you could call it in between exactly, more alongside, but yes. They're expected to handle those jobs as well. We do have men killing over from time to time, I admit. I always remember wearing one of those helmets, as I said. But it's with a heavy heart that I shall have to relinquish that dream to you, Mr. Naruhodo. Your heavy heart will be my heavy hand if you do. It happened at around 5 in the evening 2 days ago. Just there, on the open bed of faith, ma'am. The victim, a young woman, was stabbed with a blade from behind. Is it right that the lady is still unconscious now? They mentioned that she's being treated in hospital. I never said she was a lady. Sure is, unless she comes around pretty smallish, we won't be able to find out much about her at all. I suppose that means they haven't been able to take a statement from her, of course. Here's a map of the local area I happen to have on me. You can take it if you want. Really? Are you sure? It's your policy to give lawyers defending suspects the old bit of information to go on. I haven't actually accepted the job yet, but still. Usually in previous attorney games, we have to like work alone, like the police doesn't want to help us, but surprisingly, he is helping us, I guess, a bit. Thank you, Inspector. We gratefully accept. Anyway, as far as we know, there was no one else on the scene other than the victim and your fellow countryman. So who did it, do you think? Not much of a head scratcher, is it? Well, I know Mr. Natsume is also claiming not to have seen anyone else around. Gregson is cool. He's cool. He eats fish and chips. He looks cool. Just because he didn't see anyone, it doesn't mean we can be sure that nobody else was present. I'm sorry to have to tell you, but we most certainly can be sure. Oh! Well, they didn't want to help us but they did because it was best himbo Gumshoe. Is Gumshoe himbo though? I think he just like not a himbo, just dumb but precious. Wouldn't say Gumshoe is a himbo, because usually I thought that himbo is the stupid but handsome man. I mean, I'm not saying Gumshoe is ugly, but I'm not saying that he's handsome either, so I don't know if he can be categorized as a himbo. Because ma'am, the precise moment of the stabbing didn't go unnoticed. What? We have two very reliable witnesses, no less. Oh! It was a typical foggy London day, and your client obviously didn't see them. There were witnesses now? Who are these witnesses, Inspector? A fellow and his wife, and the man's one of the most reliable, respected citizens in all of London. He's a cooper from Scotland Yard. Oh! A policeman? That might change things. And this policeman just happens to be there at the exact moment the woman was attacked. Nothing peculiar about that, ma'am. Part and parcel of a bim bobby, catch him them bang and the egg and all that. Do you think it might be possible for us to ask that policeman a few questions? Be my guest, you can ask him what you like. In court tomorrow. Oh, I've no doubt he'll be summoned as a witness. So that'll give you something to look forward to. That's that, Dad. He's got no intention of letting us meet the man before Harry seems. A policeman witnessed the incident. As your judicial assistant, I must warn you that this could make our job very difficult indeed. Yes, as a non-judicial assistant, I could have warned me of that too. Oh yes, one more thing, Inspector. What? The person who led you to the suspect, I heard that was Mr. Sherlock Holmes. What are you bringing him up for? Was it something I said? The color has drained from his cheeks. That twitchy Japanese bloke goes and tried to murder. Are you going to devour him or not? Well, makes a difference to me, but I will just say this. I won't allow you how what his sword would touch that case with a barge pole. Because the prosecution is being handled by the Reaper of the Bailey, you mean? There's no way to save that man now, it's a waste of time trying. It is all a bit strange though. Sorry? The Reaper, he hasn't appeared in court once for a good few years now. Yes, we did hear something to that effect. And the only people he usually bothers with are the real scum, the master criminals, the violent ones. Master criminals? The violent ones? That's right, he handpicks his victims, only deals with those guaranteed to go to the gallows for their sins. But Mr. Natsume wouldn't hang for what he's accused of, surely? That's just my point, sunshine. Yes, the young woman was stabbed, but it didn't kill her, couldn't even say the intent was there. So this isn't the sort of case I'd be expecting the Reaper to want to sink his teeth into, for want of a better phrase. What if Fonzix accept this case because he wants to meet me, because like he thinks that we are going to defend the defendant, so he's like, okay, I accept this case, you know, maybe something like that. Mayhaps? Is that possible? Fonzix would have known he would take this case. Yeah, I know! It's the red thread of fate! It's a destiny. Awas aja. Iya, bener! Well, it's not exactly a minor infraction, is it? No, there's got to be more to it. Some reason he's taking an interest. Really? What sort of reason, Inspector? Think I can tell what's going on inside the head of the Lord of Darkness? We all both be like, I know, right? Fonzix is Sundere. No, he's more like an emotionless OG son. He's not really a tsundere. More like he cannot like express emotions. Kudere? Not really kudere. Stoic OG san. Are we really going to have to face the Reaper again? The Lord of Darkness. The Lord of Darkness. That's edgy. Throwing wine glass is not emotionless though. He's extra. He's just being extra. Who did you hear that name from? Oh, well, it was Mr. Natsume who mentioned it. He said that Mr. Holmes was with the police when they entered his lodgings. I'm sure it was a result of one of Mr. Holmes' spiritual great deductions. Fiddle faddle! Ugh! The man's an amateur and I'm getting sick and tired of him showing his mug everywhere. Oh, I don't know where he gets his information from, but he turns up at the scene of the crime, wanders around spotted incomprehensible rubbish, and before you know it, he claims to have solved the case. Yes, he's quite astounding, isn't he? He is a great help to Scotland Yard though, isn't he? Gibble gabble. Ever seen this before? Oh yes, that's Rand's magazine. A wonderful publication in which the adventures of Sherlock Holmes appears. Yes, well, that wonderful publication, as you put it, sees fit to include several of the Yard detectives in the stories, and the so-called great detective make a mockery of all of us. If you ask anyone in the Yard, it's a misadventure to be included in any Sherlock Holmes tale at all. Well, I suppose there's an element of that. We work our socks off, every one of us, only to be robbed by the public thanks to the obnoxious detective. The man's as dangerous to us at Scotland Yard as he is to all our criminals. That can't really be true, can it, Inspector? Clearly the great detective and the police have a complex relationship. Well, I don't think we're going to get any more useful information out of the detective. Mr. Naruhodo, can I make a suggestion? Oh yes, what is it? Well, it seems to me that we must speak with him about this. By him, do you mean Mr. Sholmes? Yes, Mr. Sherlock Sholmes, exactly. Look at those shining eyes, you can't wait, can you? Well, Mr. Natsume did blame Mr. Sholmes for all of this, didn't he? Yes, he did. He really did. Which makes him an involved party in the case. Are you just going to ignore that? I hope not. I assure you, it's not simply my selfish desire to meet Mr. Sholmes again. The trouble is, we have no idea what of the man's It's Baker Street! How did you know about that? It's in the stories, of course. Oh yeah, the classic Sherlock Holmes address. 221B Baker Street, the most famous address in the world. Man, I think it is my wish though, to one day visit United Kingdom and then visit Baker Street. I really want to go there. I really want to visit the most famous address in the world. Oh, I see. Well, there's nothing to stop us from going, I suppose. We better try to find our way there before Susato-san gets any more excited and unpredictable. Hurrah! I'll summon a carriage! So we are to have a reunion already with the great detective, Mr. Sherlock Sholmes. Can we really visit anything? Oh, pinch me. I'm sure I must be dreaming. Yeah, let's go! Let's go to Baker Street. Oh, anime. Naik delman mereka.
ありがとうございました。そこの2階でございます。それでは。どうも。
Let's go!
ここがホームズさんの事務所なのですね。
Yo, looks so good! Oh, shoot! Oh, wow! The inside looks like the movie, like the movie Sherlock Holmes. And this one is really famous because like I know that Sherlock Holmes like to like stab letters on the wall. So this is where the great detective makes his living. It feels surreal to be here somehow. Oh, violin! Is it as described in the story, Mrs. Sato? Susato-san? She's paying respect. Many famous cases have been solved here in this very room. Oh, I suppose they must have been, yes. I've never read the story, so it's hard to get quite as excited about it as she seems to be. Yang Roberto, ini bukan, aku nontonnya yang TV show. Si Benedict Cumberbatch. The detective chases the villain relentlessly as he disappears into the vault down an unlit London street. Oh, the thrill of it, the romanticism. Can you feel your heart thumping in your chest? Can't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, I suppose I can, yes. So if you don't mind, I'll just stand here and soak up the atmosphere for a while longer. I think Susato is me. I'll definitely do that if I can visit this place. I'm gonna do that. This soaking the energy. She's obsessed. I know. But who wouldn't? Well, it looks like our detective friend isn't home at present. Excuse me, is anybody home? Oh, do we have a visitor? Ah! Hello, is it the big new case for Mr. Jones? Hello. Oh, look at her. Wait, aren't you? Oh, how rude of me. I'll go and make some tea at once. I'm sure it's the same girl. Mrs. Sato, did you see the girl who was just here? Oh yes, isn't it truly extraordinary? Think that the King of Bohemia came to this very room to ask Mr. Show's take on his case. The King of Bohemia? King Wilhelm goes straight 6 more and 4 Ormstein, of course. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Forget the adventure of Sherlock Holmes for a moment and look over there. The tea's brewed and have a freshly baked cake as well. Oh, it's you! I knew it. Susato-san recognizes her too. Oh, there you are. I'm taking that with you as well. I was looking forward to the trial run of my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Oh, good day to you. I am, well, the inventor, I suppose, of that machine. It's the girl who turned up at the end of Mr. McGilda's trial in the defendant's antechamber. I've never met a lawyer from the Far East before. Poor you, having to get straight to work when you've only just arrived in London. Oh yes, it was challenging. Wow, try this tea. It's my special blend, you know? Thank you. Is this supposed to look that color? Oh my, what a fragrant yet mellow flavor. Hooray, it's a winner! I tried blending before I left, designed to alleviate fatigue, you see. You must be excited for your long voyage here, and you have another ticklish trial tomorrow. Oh, and you should defend a Japanese man. I do wish you lots and lots of luck. Did Mr. Shams tell you about us by any chance? Oh, you know Hurley, do you? Hurley? Mr. Shams, do you surely? Mr. Shams was a fellow passenger on the boat that brought us to Great Britain, you see. Was he really? Well, I had no idea. I'm afraid Hurley's out on an errand again today, even though he just returned from overseas. Wait a minute. We met this girl for the first time ever yesterday after the trial, only briefly at that. How on earth does she know so much about us? Did she deduce all those things, do you think? And perhaps more to the point, why is she here in Mr. Shams' suit? Oh, silly me, I haven't introduced myself, have I? It's a great pleasure to meet you both. My name is Iris Wilson. Come on, you can pick other names. There's like a bunch of other names. Why would you pick Iris? Iris is such a... like, you know, the same name as the one that is very important to the story. Why would you give her the same name? I live here together with Hurley. Iris, is it? What a lovely name. What? What's the matter? No, wait, this can't be. Did you say that your name is Wilson? What's the matter with Susato-san? Why is she so flustered all of a sudden? Yes, that's right. And what are your names? Oh, I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a lawyer from Japan. Oh, sorry. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Susato Mikotoba. It's wonderful to meet you. Lovely, Susie and Runo. Got it. Susie? And Runo? There's more to this girl than meets the eye. I have so many questions for her, I don't know where to start. Yes, and so do I. It was you that were here yesterday, wasn't it? At the Old Bailey? Yes, that's right. You were ever so helpful. Thank you so much. Oh no, not at all. I'm so sorry we couldn't have been more welcoming. Though at the time we did have a rather large gun pointed at us. Like this? Huh? Oh, thinking back now, you left with Mr. Straight in tow, didn't you? Oh yes, that awkward witness, Gina Lestrade. Oh, Ginny? Yeah, she's a professional pickpocket. So we found out. Let me drink first. It was very naughty of her to pitch my intention like that. Are you referring to the trial disrupting gun-like contraption? Exactly. So I followed her, you see, to get it back. Perhaps I should think about fitting a self-destruct mechanism in my inventions. This girl is dangerous. Anyway, I brought Ginny back here after that, so she could apologize to my trusted technician. Sorry, you're a technician? Harley, of course, silly. Harley? Yeah, hello Sholmes, we live here together. I had no idea the great detective had such an interesting young daughter. Daughter, not likely. What? I wouldn't call him Harley if he was my father, wouldn't I? Well then, what is your relationship with Mr. Sholmes? Wow, I expect you found out that lodgings of any kind in London are very expensive. So the solution is to share the cost with a partner, a roommate. Oh, kos-kosan. Oh, jadi mereka nggak pakai John Watson, I guess they use a girl, a loli at that. So it's no longer John Watson. I think he died in the first case, right? Your roommates? I hope you don't mind me asking, Iris, but how old are you? 10 at last this year. Well, what of your mother and father? Oh no, they're not around. Oh, I see. Wonder what the story is there. Oh yes, there's something I must ask you. Of course, go ahead, Sissy. I am a very great fan of the adventures of Sherlock Holmes and... Oh, you have a copy of Road's magazine. Yes, I read every issue. It's delivered all the way to Japan on a ship. Oh, this is so exciting. My stories are being read on the other side of the world. My stories? That's right. Harley is always solving such amazing cases, you see, and he tells me all about them. They really are quite fascinating. It would be such a shame if I was the only one who ever heard them, don't you think? Goodness. Last night he was telling me all about a new case he just solved on a steamship traveling from a faraway land. So I was just in the middle of diving up the manuscript for the next issue before you came. So you are the author? Yeah, I'll let you in on a secret if you like. I'm going to call this later adventure The Speckled Band. The Speckled Band? That's certainly very familiar. Of course, I always change one or two details in the stories here and there. This time, I had the idea of making a venomous snake be the cause of all the trouble. Oh, that was Mr. Sholmes' first thought as well, actually. Yes, and of course, I know that the snake might not be a credible fit for the facts of that case exactly, but it's a story. Some poetic license is justified to make it more thrilling, I think, don't you? So, do you mean to say, are the stories about Mr. Sholmes that are published in Rand's magazine all written by me? Yes, on my wonderful and very modern typewriter. But all the stories I've ever read are written by a doctor of medicine, Dr. John H. Wilson. Susato-san's getting more and more worked up. Oh yes, that's me. I mean, my name really is Wilson. But what about the doctor of medicine part? That's all true too. I'm a doctor of medicine. Wait, what? No, at 10 years old? At 10 years old. Well, that's quite incredible. But Dr. Wilson is an English gentleman. Oh, yes. I did alter the settings slightly for the stories to be more compelling. Oh. Well, it sounds a little strange, doesn't it? A great detective with a 10-year-old girl in tow? Yeah, that looks a bit weird. I suppose it does, yes. Poor Susato-san, she looks like her whole world has just fallen apart. Susato's BL fantasy is being crushed right now. But before... Yes, what's on your mind, Runo? Do tell me. How did you know that I was a lawyer and we just arrived in London, I mean? Yes. Oh, and that we have a difficult trial tomorrow. How did you know all of that? Oh, that's what you mean? Please, tell us how you did it. Explain every detail. Of course, I pretty liked it, although there's really no mystery. Now, let's begin. Iris Wilson is proud to present her logic and reasoning spectacular. Lucu. First of all, I knew already that you were a lawyer, Runo. After all, I met you yesterday at the old violin in the defendant's antechamber. But you also said that we only just arrived in London. How did you know that? I observed a passport and travel ticket protruding from your breast pocket, man. This is really cool. This is so Sherlock Holmes. Very Sherlock Holmes. Oh, so I was reasonably confident that you must have only just arrived in the country. And on top of that, you accepted the case against that particular prosecutor, telling me you were unaware of London's court affairs. The Reaper of the Bailey? I walked right into that one, didn't I? There's a red ink stamp on the back of Susie's hand. You were given that when you visited the local prison to meet with the suspect, weren't you? Earlier today. Oh! They used those stamps to keep a close eye on comings and goings, you see? I realize. And the red stamp is only used for people visiting foreign inmates. So that told me that even though you had only yesterday concluded the trial of Baptist McGilded, the two of you had already had cause to visit a foreign inmate at the local prison. However, neither of you was wearing a particularly sad expression on your face, so I concluded that the prisoner was unlikely to be a friend or a relative. That led me to believe that you must have accepted a new case. I see. But how could you have known that the trial is tomorrow? Well, having barely been home a few hours yesterday, Harley solved yet another case. It obviously amused him. He told me that he'd caught a Japanese man who was bawling and trembling. The Japanese one? Well, clearly that must have been Mr. Natsume. Now, Runo has that fancy Japanese sword. And I think your outfit is called a kimono, isn't it, Susie? Well, anyway, it was clear to me that you both come from Japan yourself, so I put two and two together and decided you must be defending the Japanese man Harley caught. And there was only one conclusion those facts could lead me to. You both came here to ask Harley about the case. Oh, she's really cute. There's a note on the mantelpiece that says the man's trial will be tomorrow. Harley's always stabbing his nose with a knife, you know? He is silly. And that's all there was to it, really. Thank you for listening. I'm Iris Wilson, and that was one of my great detections. That's elementary, my dear Wilson. Iris deduction gak pakai revisi super sekali. She's smart. She's smart beyond. So cute. She's so cute. Well, was it a winner? Were my deductions correct? They were spot on. That was amazing, Iris. Truly a great deduction. You even managed to certain something of Mr. Sholmes' delivery. Oh wow, I was just copying Harley's style for that. This is really very good news. You could tell us all about the case involving the Japanese man. You will, won't you, Iris? Please? Not as cute as the girl. Oh, Namiji! Hello, Namiji, by the way! Oh my god, hello! Wait, I'm gonna give you the power of the blue name. Namiji is also... I just recently followed Namiji and I really like her. And she also has blue hair. So yesterday Michelle shows a friend at the Japanese man, you were saying? Yes. Hurley had just arrived back in London after his sea voyage. Blue gang, let's go. Yeah! Blue hair supremacy. The great detective is a popular man, it seems. Apparently, a woman was stabbed on a quiet street somewhere in town. There were witnesses who had seen a short, shifty-looking, stooped man running away from the scene. A short, shifty-looking, stooped man. Mr. Natsu may be on any doubt. Suzuki-san said that he didn't see anybody else on the street at all, but it seems there were witnesses after all. Hurley used his great deductive power to determine the man's address. It was a lodging room very nearby. He went directly there with the police, and what did they find? A short, shifted-looking, stooped man shivering in fear. Mr. Shaw's great deduction certainly hit the mark that time. Of course it did. He's a great detective. Still, that means the incident occurred only 2 days ago. Surely tomorrow is too soon for the trial, isn't it? Definitely. We have no time to investigate properly. Hurley says that London is rife with crime. Oh, Scotland Yard is doing its best, but they can't stay on top of it apparently. Oh dear, I hadn't realized the situation was so dire. That's why they can't afford to spend too much time investigating cases and trying the criminals in court. Staff and money are both short. Crimes are usually pinned on the first suspicious person. That's terrible. I suppose it's the harsh reality of the workings of the world's greatest justice system. I suppose it is, but in that case, I don't hold out much hope for Suzuki-san. Thank you for answering so many of our questions, Iris. This has been very informative. Aww, you're most welcome. I had so much fun. Do you happen to know where Mr. Sean is at the moment? If you guys would like to ask him some questions about this case as well. Oh well, I expect Hurley is still investigating the scene of the case involving Mr. Natsume, you mean? Yeah, Mr. Nuts. Oh man, Hurley said he was going to the man's lodgings. If you leave now, you'll probably catch him there. Iris, do you know where those lodgings are? Well, I imagine the police are still investigating the scene of the crime themselves, aren't they? Did you happen to come across a detective by the name of Gregson when you were there? Yes, we know Inspector Gregson. Oh goody, in that case. Take Rexy this from me, would you? If you do that, I'm sure he'll tell you what you want to know. What is this? A 5-shilling piece and a postcard, seems. Mr. Nuts. Mr. Dude's Nuts. It reads, tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust it won't be a problem. Gosh, this will be the inspector helps us, will it? Well, thank you, Iris. We'll give it a try. Good luck, Dad. I'm going to return to writing my manuscript, The Speckled Dad. And I'll be making more special blends of tea, so come back again soon. We'd be delighted. Thank you so much, Iris. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, it's back to the scene of the crime. So somewhat dubious that they would exert any influence over the men of Scotland Yard at all. We headed back to the sea with Iris' curious note and one of the world's heaviest silver coins in hand. It looks as though the police are still here carrying on with the investigation. Perfect, so let's find Inspector Gregson as quickly as possible. Yes, and let's see if he'll take a break from his chips to look at that silver tip Iris gave us for him. Oh, present. Aku belum examine ini. Mersham Street, Calabash Road. Inspector Gregson, do you have a moment? I'm sorry to say I don't. I'm a very busy man. Much too busy to talk to a pair of boring gadabouts, that's for sure. We have this for you. A present from Miss Iris Wilson. What? For me? From her ladyship? Her ladyship? Get that here at once. Come on, hand it over. That's for me. Don't wait for me to give it to you, will ya? Is he a fanboy? A fan man? What was that coin exactly? It's a silver crown, obviously, but it's a lot more than that. It's, well, it's an appearance fee. That's what it is. An appearance fee? Oh, I see, you mean... That's right, for the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, her ladyship always offers me a little financial reward for featuring me every time. Yes, of course, I know about your exploits, Inspector. I read them avidly. Of course, her using my name without my say-so does make me the butt of a lot of unpleasant jokes, but still, I am sorry, Inspector, that it must be difficult for you. Never you mind that. So, what do you want to know then, eh? Sorry? Well, obviously it's no problem. Go on, fire away, what you want to know. Well, if you wouldn't mind, Inspector, we'd very much like to know the address of Mr. Natsume's lodgings. Oh, the little knife wielding mustache Japanese fellow. He lives in the right old hovel, just over there, look. On the first floor of the house on the corner where the wreck of a bicycle is propped up. That is nearby indeed. If I remember rightly, the landlord is a Mr. John Garrida. What? Well, if you see him again, you make sure you give her ladyship my regards. You guys, you hear? A minute, you tell her that Gregson sends his very best wishes. But don't worry, Inspector, we will. Goodbye for now then. And long live her ladyship. How come he respects her a lot? I wonder what happened. Well, at least he told what we wanted to know before he left. Yes, so then shall we go and see what we can find in Mr. Natsume's lodgings? Definitely. Oke, bentar guys, pipis dulu. I wanna toilet. I'm back. I'm back. Tadaima. Okay. Let's go to Mr. Natsume's lodging. Nuts. This Natsume. Oh, huh. That's a very interesting collection. Hello, hello. Oh, look at this. She's so cute. May I help you? Oh, yes. Would this be the residence of Mr. John Garidab? Indeed, it was, sir. And who may I say is calling? Did you buy it? My name is Rinosuke Naruhodo. Mr. Naruhodo is representing Mr. Sasuke Natsume. I believe he takes lodgings here. We would very much like to ask him some questions about our client. One moment, please. I shall convey the message to Mr. Garidab. Did you see that, Mrs. Sato? That was a real-life English maid. I want to have an English maid. I know, as I understand it, anyone of standing in English society employs a number of household staff. But that was the first time I've ever seen one in the flesh. Oh, these days keep getting better. It certainly feels like we've really arrived now, doesn't it? We need only to meet a butler and the experience will be complete. Well, I'm not sure if I'd go that far, but I understand the sentiment. They're no fangirling over England. Thank you for waiting. Mr. Garidab will see you now. This way. It's a moon. It's Mr. Moon. It's Mr. Worldwide. Good day to you. John Garidab at your service. Pleased to meet you, sir. This is Rinosuke Naruhodo. He's a defense lawyer. The excuse me not getting up. Took a shot to the knee a few years back in the battle of my one, don't you know? And a medal for my pines, but had to withdraw from service. Handed over the lines to the up-and-comings. So he's a retired soldier. It's a hell of a job getting up and down stairs now. I can tell you. Don't get out much, as you can imagine. Yes, it's quite a climb up here to the second floor, isn't it? I was panting at the top of the stairs. You really must take my exercise, Mr. Naruhodo. Do you think so? Well, Mr. Garidab, no doubt you are very courageous to earn yourself a medal. Oh, it was nothing. The medal's just a folderol, really. Wouldn't like to offend the general though, so I grudgingly displayed it on the wall. Why don't you fetch it down, Joan? Let these good people see it properly. Sure. Sure you aren't proud of it. You sound like you really want to show us. Dash it all, woman! Be careful! Oh, dearie me, I do beg your pardon, sir. He jolly nearly took the skin off my hands. I shall be more careful, sir. So anyway, there you have it, living the quiet life now. Yes, I see. Now then, I hear you want to know about the chap lodging downstairs, is that right? Yes, we would be very grateful if you could answer some questions for us. All is to place naturally, especially if it helps to keep the peace here and politely. What? That's an interesting spoon. We've forged an alliance with the Empire of Japan recently, as I'm sure you are aware. So these cards are very much in the public eye, as it were. Oh, is it? Even had some famous detective poking around, you know, in this old house, would you believe? Yes, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Could have been. Didn't catch the chap's name, not really my cup of tea. All the detective business. Oh, but you have a copy of Rance magazine here, so... Anyway, the chap's investigating the four witness room as we speak. So he's in Saseki-san's room. It's about the nonsense is what it is. The whole neighborhood's twitching its curtains now. I don't like all these fools, it's truly unsettling. About Mr. Natsume and Mr. Garidab, please to tell us. Oh yes, the Japanese chap only been lodging here for a week. Oh, just 1 week? So he moved in very recently then. I have the lodges most of the time, one on the ground floor and one just below us. The first floor became available a week ago. You see that? There you go, Johan, be careful. Oh my goodness, I'm terribly sorry, sir. Why is she still working here if she keeps spilling your tea? Just fire her.
If you want to know my opinion, I thought he was a shady sort of the moment I set eyes on him.
Oh, why?
He seemed to have the most nervous position, always looking and looking over his shoulder. The man had surely written all close his street so well, if you ask me. I said to myself, John, that man is trouble. Sooner or later he's going to do something untoward. And I'm really wrong about anything.
We won't be calling this maid as a witness, that's for sure. Was there anything else that struck you as suspicious about the man at all?
Yes, oh yeah, I said that there was.
And she's dying to tell us. Had you noticed anything else at all about your lawyer, Mr. Natsume?
Oh my word, yes! The man was shadier than an orchid.
Could you elaborate?
Well, take the man's room, absolutely stuffed full of books it is, more than anyone could ever read. And he never showed much space at the time of the day with another living soul. I haven't seen a single visitor call.
Hey, doesn't mean we're weird, okay? We just don't want to talk with people. He just doesn't want to talk with people. Just because we stay in our room most of the time and doesn't have anyone to call us, doesn't mean we are weird. We are not shady. We just like to be alone. He just throws off to that old bookshop every single day and come back at 5 to light the gas fire. And the funny little man is up long past the time everyone else in the house is going to bed too. Oh, I see. The gentleman on the ground floor goes to bed at around 9 each night. But I've never known that Japanese fellow to retire any earlier than so in the morning. Ah. Could you clarify something, I wonder?
What, pray?
How do you know so much about Mr. Natsume's routine?
Oh!
I understood that neither of the lawyers live on this floor of the house, is that correct? That's right, yes, they're both below us on the first floor and street level. Then how is it that you know so much of the lives of your lawyers? The precise time that they come back in the evening, for example, even the times they go to bed. Ah! Good grief, Joanne, be more careful, woman.
Oh my goodness, sir, I'm terribly sorry, sir.
Something doesn't add up here. Saucy? It seems that the incident took place at around 5 in the evening. Did you happen to look out of the window at around that time? The window? Yes, we noticed that the window over there looks out over Briar Road. The incident took place on the pavement just on the far side on the street. Was there anyone suspicious loitering nearby? 5 o'clock is dinner time in the Garidem household, so I'm afraid I don't remember seeing anything. How about you, John?
No, sure, it will have been dusk outside already at that hour. And with the fog as well as...
Wait, jam berapa sih? 5 in the evening. Oh, okay. And with the fog as well, I should think it would have been quite impossible to see the other side of the road. Oh, I see. Did you notice anything else out of the ordinary then? Such as? Anything at all, even if it seems unrelated. Well... Yes, was there something then? Well, it's nothing particularly significant, but around that sort of time he did. Come on! For the love of God, Joel, watch what you're doing! Oh dear me! What have I done? I'm awfully sorry, sir! Do be more careful, woman! Of course, sir! If I may, Mr. Naruholo. Oh, yes? I have an exceedingly good memory, and as far as I remember, nothing of any significance took place here at that hour. Nothing at all. Oh, really, Mr. Garidep? The way you were talking before, it sounded rather like there might have been. Oh, well, as I was saying, it was just a trifling matter, really. Nothing of... Stop! John! Digital! What is the matter with one woman? Begging your pardon, sir. Nothing happened. Yes, quite. Nothing happened. We sat down to a quiet, uneventful meal. John? That's right, Mr. Garida. What is the matter with these two? It sounds like something happened here in this room on the evening of the incident. But what? I wish I knew. Could you tell us which floor Mr. Natsume's room is on? Why, certainly just below us on the first floor. And Mr. Sholm is investigating there even as he speaks. Yes, told me that's his name, had asked him to look into the matter, so I gave him the key. Mr. Natsume has engaged Mr. Sholm's services? That's a blatant lie. Which floor will you also look around? In Mr. Natsume's room, I mean. Don't see why not. It's just down one flight of stairs. Don't know if we'll find anything that could help us with the case, but we have to try. We know all the clues we can lay our hands on, shall we? Yes, and while we are there, we can speak with Mr. Sholmes again. Perhaps he'll be able to tell us more. Whoa! And there's a cat! There's a cat! But that's a lot of books. And no window, man. But there's a cat! That is so cute. Well, just look at this place and smell it! It's so musty in here. I suppose it's the mountains of old books that are responsible for that. I don't think I've ever seen so many books in all my life. No, me neither. It's so dark in here too. Is that the window over there? Well, it was the window, I think, yes, once upon a time. But for some reason, it's been closed up with bricks and mortar. So this is where Mr. Natsume lives. By the way, I haven't spotted Mr. Sholmes anywhere, have you? No, that's true, but according to what Mr. Garidep told us, the girl detective should be around here somewhere investigating. There's a cat! Ah! Lucu! Anglet! Anglet! Lucu! Oh my, what a little cat! Perhaps he's looking after all the books while his master is away. I don't know about that. He disappeared into that pile of books as quick as a flash. It was a three-color Mikey, wasn't it? Do they even have that sort of cat here in Great Britain? Perhaps Mr. Natsume brought the little creature with him from Japan. That's made me feel homesick now. Already? We've only been in the country for 2 days. Look at all those books stacked up there. They almost reach a ceiling. They're all works of English literature and they all smell so musty. With this volume of books to hand, you'd never be short of reading material, would you? No, what a dreamy idea. A bad dream, maybe, for me at least. Mind you, I don't imagine the book that's at the bottom of the pile now will ever be read again. So reading it is an experience that comes but once in a lifetime, just as a tea ceremony teaches us. I certainly didn't expect the conversation to turn down the path of tea ceremony philosophy. That text seemed to be wedged into a crevasse between the mountains of book on either side. I suppose Mr. Natsume would sit there and read while stroking his cat. But surrounded on all sides by these towering old tomes, surely he dreamt of books every night as well. Yes, he must have done, mustn't he? Oh, what's this? It's a receipt from a second-hand bookshop. Yore Books. Oh yes, Mr. Natsume's name is on it too. Look, and the date of purchase. 2 days ago at 4:45 p.m. That's the day of the incident. That's just a short while before he was embroiled in the terrible attack. He must have been on his way back from buying some old books. There he is.
Ah, look, Mr. Naruhodo.
Aha! There he is! Where did he appear from? He seems to be engrossed in the pages of an old book. I hope he won't mind if we disturb him.
Hello, Mr. Sholmes.
Oh, you too. Good day. Now, let me see, where was it that we met? Oh, Mr. Sholmes, we were together on the SS Burya. Yes, of course, the Burya. Let me see, what happened on that voyage? It was Kazuma Asogi. He died tragically, but you were a great help to us. Oh yes, but of course, the case of Mr. Asogi. It was the one with the snake, wasn't it? Oh, well, you seem to remember something of it at least. What an honor to be remembered vaguely by the great Sherlock Holmes. This is Mr. Oh no, my dear madam, hold your tongue. I pride myself on my superior powers of recollection. Your names are safely recorded in my brain attic. The BBC Sherlock Holmes called it his mind palace. It's funny that Sherlock Holmes called it his brain attic. Mind palace and brain attic. That is very funny. Miss Naruhodo and Mr. Susato. Try the other way around, Mr. Holmes. I lost the first round. In truth, I had hoped to invite you both to my Baker Street suit the day we arrived in London, but some Scotland Yarders ambushed me at the railway station and whisked me away to a crime scene. It was an entirely trivial case, of course. I solved the matter in no more than 30 minutes. So they apprehended Soseki-san in that short of an amount of time? I'm afraid the pursuance of a new case has dulled my recollection of my past involvement a little. A little? It is a mistake to think that one's brain attic has elastic walls and can be stand to any extent. I do my best to forget useless facts, lest they should elbow out the useful ones. Yes, those are my own words of inimitable wisdom, you know, from an adventure entitled Study in Scarlet. Please, there's no need to quote yourself. I always remember my pearls of wisdom, but fortunately my associate pants them beautifully. He means Iris, I suppose. Mr. Sholmes, we have some extremely important questions to ask you about the trivial case you just mentioned. Goodness, what an earnest expression. My dear madam, I should be only too pleased, and this murky room is an apt place to discuss the murky case. We know this to be the lodgings of a Japanese foreign student by the name of Soseki Natsume. It seems that he assisted in his arrest, Mr. Sholmes, for the stabbing of a young woman outside here on Briar Road. Natsume, yes, I believe it was a name rather along those lines. But Mr. Natsume denies it. Was it really justifiable to arrest him on so little? Oh yeah, I remember that he doesn't know that the earth rotates around the sun because he said it will make him forget about the useful facts. I know that he mentioned that once. I'm sorry, Mrs. Sato, but I have not the slightest idea what you mean. What? I can't believe he was looking Susato-san squarely in the eye while feigning ignorance. I assure you, I am not merely feigning ignorance. It will appear as if the pair of you are under some misapprehension. Oh, how? I assure you I have no recollection of accusing your stooped compatriot of the crime. But that doesn't make sense. The good detective of Scotland Yard made the following request of me, and I quote verbatim. We need you to ascertain the identity and whereabouts of a man seen fleeing the crime scene. Ah, a man seen fleeing. There were a number of books scattered on the pavement at the scene. From the book place, I was quickly able to determine the bookshop from which they had been purchased. On speaking with the proprietor, I was immediately led to this address. Elementary, what did you say? I believe there is a receipt around here somewhere from the establishment in question. So you don't think Mr. Natsume is the culprit then? That I could not tell you, but it was aggravating my faculties, hence why I returned here. However, despite with such a trove of fascinating books, I found myself quite lost in bibliophilia. Do not be deceived into believing that I am a man of leisure. No, no, no. Oh dear. Oh, tell me. Have you encountered the landlord of these lodgings? Yes, Mr. Garidab, a retired military man. It was the first time I've ever met a soldier from the Great British institution that is the services. And it was the first time I've ever met a maid from the Great British institution that is service. I didn't think it was that funny. I do apologize. As you may well be aware, many households in London employ a maid. Yes, I read as much in my Great Britain primer. Sean's here feels like a himbo. Yeah, he does. He's like pretend to be stupid, but he's actually a genius, right? Or that's what I believe. And so conversely, whether or not a household employs a maid has come to betoken the social standing of those dwelling therein. Betoken their social standing? Sorry? Put simply, my dear fellow, those who employ at least a single maid are considered middle class. Those who do not are beneath that. In the upper echelons of society, of course, households employ enough staff to constitute a large family. Goodness, how extraordinary! As you can appreciate, for those on the precarious boundary between the middle and lower classes, being able to afford just one maid is of the first importance. I had no idea, and it is for precisely that reason that I find great stimulation in the situation upstairs, specifically in the retired army veteran Mr. John Garida. Oh! Available as he is, the fellow is hiding something. Whether or not it imposes on the circumstances of this case, I am as yet unable to ascertain. I'm thoroughly lost on what he means to say. This room is truly suffocating for the soul, my dear fellow. I assure you, any man whose lot is to dwell in a place such as this will stab somebody sooner or later. No! Mr. Natsume has stabbed no one. Oh, but sooner or later, as I said. I don't believe that's the issue here. About this dark little room, Mr. Sholmes. Why is there no longer a window? Do you have any idea? No window? Well, I mean, I can clearly see that there is a window of sorts. But it's been completely blocked with bricks. Oh, I see. The answer to that question is quite simple. Window tax. Huh? Window tax? What is that? Surely not a tax on windows? Precisely that. Oh my goodness! Until relatively recently, a tax was levied on households in this country by the number of their windows. Those of lesser means, having inherited a sizable and costly family home perhaps, rapidly closed windows up. What? There is something like that? While the rich open windows here, there, and everywhere. In an effort to curry favor with those in power by furnishing them with large sums of tax money. How awful and unjust, forcing people to live in rooms devoid of light. Indeed, disease was rife as a result, so some 40 years ago or thereabouts the window tax was abolished. But its legacy remains, as you can see, in squalid lodgings such as this, for example. I suppose Mr. Natsume's stipend for living here in London isn't very generous, perhaps. It will appear so after a little digging, and discovered that these lodgings were offered at an extraordinarily low price. Because the room is so awful, I should think. Apparently, Mr. Natsume only moved in here about 1 week ago. Yes, that's correct. However, I don't believe the law run is explained by the shabby nature of the accommodation. The wedding in Germany, there's castle with painted on window to avoid window ties. Wow! Interesting though, I just knew about that. Oh, still that is of little relevance here, a matter not worthy of further attention. Are you sure? I'm curious now. Well, I believe I've told you all I can now. Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. Oh yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Was it not your intention to become a practitioner of law? You remembered that, did you? Will you perhaps be offering your services in this very matter, I wonder? To the occupant of this room, Mr. Natsume, was it? I'm not sure. Not sure? On what grounds? Well, I actually defended someone in court here only yesterday. Really? Well then, I congratulate you, sir, on an ambition realized, and so promptly too. The thing is, it's really made me question things. Am I right to believe in my clients? To trust in their innocence? How long have I played the game? If like the whole game, I guess it's pretty long, but for this stream, I guess 2 hours? Yes, trust. Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Natsume didn't do it, did he? My dear fellow, I haven't the first idea. Oh, but I thought that's why you were here. Didn't you come back to investigate? Oh yes, that was indeed my initial intention. But there are simply too many fascinating books here. I couldn't possibly ignore them. Oh, I see. Nevertheless, there are 2 facts that I can state quite unequivocally. The man who fled the scene of the crime 2 days ago was the Japanese occupant of this room, and there are witnesses who swear to having seen the same man commit the crime. That is all I can say. And one more thing. Oh, what is it, Mr. Sholmes? Tell us. I cannot say with any certainty whether or not it is of relevance to this case, but I am quite sure that the retired army man who owns this property is hiding something. Mr. Gary Davis, Mr. Sholmes said as much before actually, didn't he? Anyway, at present, that is really all that plays on my mind in relation to this case. Mr. Naruhodo, as yet our investigation have uncovered nothing that could help establish Mr. Natsume's innocence. No, you're right. Perhaps it's time we probe a little deeper into Mr. Garidep's secret. Just remember, I cannot be sure whether the landlord's secret will prove to be of relevance or not. But I wish you every success, of course, Mr. Naruhodo. He's a nice guy. Kinda dumb, but I love him. Busy man indeed. He's gone back to his book in the corner of the room. I wonder what is it? What is this though? This appears to be some sort of meter on the wall here. It looks very robust. I wonder what it's for. There's a slot for inserting coins here too. Oh, I believe that is gas matter, Mr. Naruhodo. A gas matter? Yes, it seems there is piped gas in this district, which consumers pay for by putting coin in the matter. So if we were to put a coin in the slot, that will be enough gas to use the lights and the gas fire for the whole night. So if you're too poor to have a coin, you have to spend the night in the dark and freezing cold? That's right, as would a rich man who only carried crisp white notes. Well, land is a scary place. Wow. Oh, you Paragon. Tell me, was a detective sharp? I forgot his name. Still hard at work down there. Mr. Harold Sholmes? Oh yes, rings a vague bell. The detective business isn't really my thing, I'm afraid. Well, Mr. Sholmes is in his element down there. Jolly good show. Another cup of tea, if you please, John. Now then, why don't you tell me what... For the umpteenth time, woman, will you watch what you're belly well doing? Shall I be serving dinner shortly, sir? Oh, yes, of course. Frightfully rude of me, but I'm afraid I shall have to ask you to take your leave if you'll be so kind. Oh, yes, of course. We are deeply grateful for all your assistance. Not at all, not at all. Don't get much chance to talk with young foreigners like yourself. It's been a pleasure. Best of luck and all that. Perhaps you could see yourselves out. According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garidab is hiding something. And since no other avenues of investigation seem open to us at the moment, perhaps we should do some digging. That's a full-size cannon! What's it doing in here? Oh my, it's real! I thought it might be a replica. That old thing? Bah, that's little more than a toy. Sorry? The army was selling it off when I retired, so I decided to give it a new home. Never know when the enemy attack next. Jolly useful to have a cannon about the house. Really? It isn't overkill? Be prepared, I always say. You never know what this twisted world is going to throw at you next, boy. Do you think there might be trouble really, Mr. Garidap? Always is. Take Joan here. Never fails to have a clean prawn in reserve. Dries them over the barrel, you see. They dry very well on the cannon there, Joan tells me, which rather proves my point, I feel. It's been reduced to a drying rack. No wonder the huge cannon looks like it's hanging its head in shame. Selamat malam, Ohazura, Ohazura. Nani kore? Look at that enormous crate. It must have been put there deliberately, surely. Yeah, it certainly seems like someone's trying to hide something from the view. What could be behind it, I wonder? I'm going to have a very quick look, just a little peek. Ahem, ahem. Maybe let's not, Mrs. Sato. I think the maid is going to head us off with a cup of tea. Ahem, ahem. What is he doing over there? What's his... That's exactly what I said. What is he doing over there? Mr. Sholmes? Aha! We made a game, my dear fellows. Good gracious! When did you sneak in here? Hello, Sholmes, sir, at your service. Whatever were you doing over by the window? I am given to watching the evening sky as the sun sets, madam. Yet sadly, cheerful is the room downstairs undoubtedly is. It lacks an aperture for such a profession. So I took the liberty of borrowing a small corner of space for the window up here. Well, keeping an eye to one's window, I thought is the prudent thing to do in London, I'm gathering. Oh, and one other thing, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, me? I thought perhaps you might be in need of a certain great detectives? Great man! Wait, he's not talking about, is he? I didn't expect to be going through that again so soon. Let's go! Logic and reasoning! There is a mighty secret in this modest room. My eyes see even the most trivial of rivals. I take it you're prepared, Mr. Naruhodo. I think so. There is just time enough for one of my greatly admired great deduction. Let us conclude the matter before dark. Let's go! Wait, I'm gonna save first. Though it would seem you are a military man of considerably distinguished service, your standing as a landlord is most certainly not what might call first-rate. You're standing? But he cannot. He's sitting. I'm afraid, sir, that it is all too clear to me. There are two conclusions I have been able to draw by careful observation of your living arrangements. I beg your pardon? The first is that even as we speak, you are concealing the presence of a very precious piece in your care. Eh? And the second, Is it as a result of the beast's violent rampage? You have lost something very dear to you. Ah! Mr. Naruhodo, look! The old man's broken out in a cold sweat. Unbelievably, it seems Mr. Shop's conclusions are both spot on. How could I possibly know you meant to inquire? The answer couldn't be simpler, sir. For in the dense jungle of logic and reasoning, I am the king of beasts. And I know only too well that wild beasts are not easily tamed. So, shall we begin? Once again, Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Yeah, the great attraction, the game is afoot. Nature of the beast. It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that the fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? Oh, for a man with a military breeding, your eyes are commonly candid. Your furtive glance, Sir Garidap, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by the lion statue. Yes, to an army man, you appear unimposing at best, a fact that has fueled your admiration for the mighty lion, the king of beasts. What is this people, I ask you? In the end, your admiration became so great, in fact, that you had a living, breeding specimen shipped from India, which you tried to keep in his very house. What? Yet living with such a wild beast proved more difficult than you had imagined. The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Wow. Yet as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam? Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me with one glance in the direction. It is? Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. For protruding from it is a handbill advertising a circus show. Ah! Yes, you sought to dispose of this terrifying lion, Mr. Garidap, at Batty's Circus. A traveling show currently sojourning in a nearby park. I have observed the tents. You sold the savage lion, sir, to the circus troupe. I most certainly did not. I believe I have made my point. The fearsome beast which ran amok in this room was an Indian lion, and a simple visit to the circus now will reveal the lion prancing jubilantly through a ring of fire. Now, Mr. Garidap, it is plainly clear that you still have deep feeling for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that little post, the distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders. The pain you feel be revealed by the supporting arm. Amid fits of tears, you let your beloved beast go. The strain of losing something so dear to you is clearly visible in your visage. Nonsense, man! I simply... But what? We must know what ourselves is the true cause of this pain. As we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it is the pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Every envelope contains another demand for payment. Ah! For cartloads of meat, potatoes, wheat, and tea. Indeed, feeding your beloved has had a devastating impact on the financial circumstances of your household. And so you had no choice but to let it go. Yeah, well... What is that? I think there's a picture behind the lion. Kinda Can't really see though. Now, in the final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? The format of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, dear me. What could have caused such a destructive outburst? Aha! This is time, madam, for it is you who had inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the direct stairs of the carpet, we only look at the Tower of Cakes. Ah. There is no creature more dangerous on this earth than a beast with an satiated appetite. Was it or was it not once said by a certain noble woman, if they have no bread, let them eat cake? Food is at the heart of all tragedy, in fact. Whatever do you mean? Having tired of the taste of cake, the beast began to stall its next prey. I'm sure I did not spell the nature of this fine act of destruction carried out by the beast. There is only one logical conclusion. Worked into a frenzy by hunger, the lion attacked and ate the carpet. The teeth marks in the carpet are a perfect match with those of a lion I once saw in India. The lion did not know carpet though? That concludes Sherlock Holmes' great attraction of this beastly puzzle. I feel like it's a monkey, not a lion. What is the matter with you, John? You're pouring scalding hot tea all over me. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Garrideb. I am afraid I didn't notice. My deductions can be startlingly sharp. It stands to reason that your cup runneth over. Indeed, my revelations can make people spill tears at times too. Oh... Mr. Holmes, sorry to butt in again, but will I make an observation? Why, certainly, Mr. Naruhodo. What is it again? Well, your deductions just now. Do you really think a lion could have fit inside a room of this size? Indeed, it is the only explanation for the facts. The terrifying truth all too often lies beyond the realms of common sense. But will it be an idea to consider what lies inside the realms of common sense as well? But if an uncaged lion had run amok in this very room, surely Mr. Garrideb and his maid would have been hurt, or worse. Ah, that's where you are stuck. No doubt the former military man held his own against the beast using that large cannon. And then you said that they sold the lions to the circus. And what about the food? Meat and potatoes are one thing. But I don't believe I have ever heard of a lion that drinks tea. Oh, my dear Mrs. Sato, it occurs to me with some regularity that irrespective of race and breeding, whenever anyone lands on Great British soil, they are infused with highly appropriate taste for afternoon tea. Oh, what a glorious notion. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's your turn to shine again. I had a feeling that it was coming. A slight massage, that's all Mr. Shop's deductions need. You can do it. Excellent, I've been waiting for my trusted partner in deduction to step forward, Mr. Naruhodo. We are his trusted partner? We don't even know yet whether or not this is going to help with Miss Nasume's case. Still, uncovering the truth is always worthwhile, whatever the motivation. At least, that's what I want to believe. Let us start again. From the beginning. Of Sherlock Holmes, logic and reasoning, spectacular. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Holmes. I really didn't see the lion thing coming. No, but if you observe Mr. Garrida's reaction, it rather seems as though some beast did indeed run amok here in this room. Yes, something with a very fierce nature, but it could have been a lion transported from India. So what was it then? We must follow Mr. Garridab's gaze, and it will lead us to the true answer. Oh, there it is. What is it? Oh, is it? Wait. Oh, is that not really the maid? Is it his wife? Pretending to be a maid? What's this photograph? It appears to be from Mr. Garridab's wedding. He looks very happy, doesn't he? He does, but you can't make out his bride. No, how unfortunate. Something must have struck the glass directly over the woman's face. I wonder what happened. Probably best not to delve too deeply there. I feel that Mr. Garridab is actually poor, and the maid is actually his wife pretending to be a maid so that he looks rich, I guess. I don't know, that's just my assumption. What really caused the damage in this room? What he was looking again? I think he was looking over here, right? Wait, let's press him. Right. Jumping to conclusions, you see? The deduction was wanting in every way. Yes, I was wanting you to hear it. I'm quite proud of it. I found myself wanting never have heard it. I'm quite pained by it, in fact. No, sorry. Apa lagi? Mortar shells? Mortar shells? Bukan juga. Masa brightnya? Berarti ceroboh gitu. The beast is the bride? I mean, I know that she's clumsy, but 暗い。The true nature of the beast that has rampant hair is revealed by the newlywed bride. Precisely, Mr. Naruhodo, no other expression could possibly fit. Yes, this frame pictures your wife, Mr. Garideb. And while we lament the fact that her face is obscured, we can still make out her mighty arms and note the considerable horsepower they must contain. Oh, indeed, surely any woman of such powerful constitution will be honored to be described as a beast. Honored might be stretching a point. Too late, the fact remains that the beast, which so clearly savaged this room, was your wife, Mr. Goridab. The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well, yet as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam? Oh, I think they are in like KDRT thingy, like berantem. They are fighting? Me? I pray that the consider being unsure, but what? Oh, there it is. Wedding ring. See, she's the wife. The wedding ring gives us a handsome clue. Indeed it does. That flowery band gleaming on your finger gives you away. For it is identical to the one shown on the hand of Mr. Goridab's bride in this photographic print. In other words, you are no ordinary household maid. No. You are Mr. Goridab's lucky bride. You are Mrs. Goridab herself. Oh my word. Well, jolly fine detecting, sir. As you rightly surmise, this is the wife, yes, my Joanne. Rather let herself go, you might say, but she was a bally quarterback. It will appear that you don't live in the most comfortable of circumstances. After all, you are a retired army man, yet you are in the business of renting out rooms. I will assume, therefore, you have insufficient means to employ a maid. Would that be correct? I just realized that Goridab's hat looks like a sun and oh, right! It's sun and moon! Now that you said it, yeah, I can see that. I was second lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment. A man has his pride, don't you know? By golly, it's a sorry thing when a chap can't even afford to have a single maid in his employ. Yes, here in London, one is rather judged. A household cannot be considered worthy of society if it employs the staff at all. Though in my considered opinion, such concerns about appearance are a volley. You mean Mr. Goridab has his wife work as his maid? Precisely, am I right, Mr. Goridab? Only in company, obviously, but listen here. This must remain a secret. Tip-top secret, please! The raging wife of Mr. Goridab. Right. Now, Mr. Goridab. Kayak abis ditampar dia sama si istrinya. Don't call a woman a beast. Slap cheeks. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders. That's a big hand. And of course, the deliverer of the impressive mark on your cheek that refuses to fade was you, Madame Joanne. Oh, the PN.
Well, yes.
You have been sprayed to hide the slap mark on your cheek, sir. How the blazes? How did you work it out, man? Nothing escapes the notice of one train in the Argus profession, my dear fellow. That's why you haven't looked directly at us even once. To keep your other side from view. Well, hump. Now, let us proceed to the next conundrum. Why were you subjected to such a violent slap? In other words, we must ask ourselves what caused Madame Garnet to fly into a rage. Didn't Mr. Shum say that the bills were all for lion fodder? Yes, but now we've established that the lion never existed, which can only mean that the thing responsible for gobbling up all that food was Mr. Garret's. Mr. Naruto, she's a person, not a thing! Yes, well, she's also a person who gave her husband a mighty slap around the face. Once the heart 11 perfect hand mark, in fact. Yes, why would your woman want to hit her husband with such force, I wonder? I'd love to know the answer to that question. The only thing available... stack of books, pile of bills, or bookmark. Oh, there it is. Are? It's not? Oh, we can't examine the bookmark. I guess you gotta examine the bookmark. Oh, so someone must be reading this book at the moment. There's a bookmark here. Look, Mr. Guard is clearly an avid reader. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think this is a bookmark. Oh no, so it isn't. It's a note written in a woman's hand. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. And look next to the signature here. Lip marks made with lipsticks. Oh, what a passionate and romantic gesture. Don't get any ideas, Sato-san. Oh dear, I'm sorry. So this book is actually a love note then? Yes, it is this love note that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. Passionate indeed. Halichu! Perhaps the sender of this note, a certain Miss Mary, is the fly in the ointment here? But I don't know the Bally woman. You don't know her? That note wasn't written to me. It wasn't in the book. I don't know how it got there. It was just in there, you say? That's right, that's what I've been saying. Likely story. Now listen here, Joanne. Whole thing I explained at the time. I bought the book at the second-hand place and that note must already have been in there. So the previous owner of the book was using the note as the bookmark, you mean? That's right, that's what I've been saying. Likely story. For heaven's sake, woman, look at the name. It's related to James. My name, in case you've forgotten, is Joan. Likely story. Are you questioning my name now? And there we have it. Arouse the suspicion of the female herd and you unleash a beast with a most ferocious bite. Now, in the final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack. Unimaginable. The form of which can be clearly seen by observing the carbon over there. A very expensive. Again. But surely Mrs. Garrett didn't eat the carpet? No, of course not. But there doesn't seem to be any doubt. That the state of disarray that this room is in is a result of her wild temper. Now that's true. So this is the last part of Mr. Shaw's deduction that we need to fix. We need only to follow Mr. Gary Depp's scabs and that will tell us the real answer. Alright, let's see what we can see. Yes! I think it's the candle over here. Oh wait, or is this candlestick? There's one candle missing. Yeah, I didn't notice that before. I said I wonder why is one candle of a tree missing from its holder? Because it fell down. And I cannot pick it. Okay, you know what? Let's try this. Wait. Yeah. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the candlestick. Most illuminating, my dear fellow, and of course the only possible way out of this logical labyrinth. Yes, the remnants of the ferocious attack in which the carpet was devoured are clearly visible. Indeed, they are. The scorch marks at the edge clearly gives the truth away. Scorch marks? It will appear that this room was the scene of a little marital altercation. Mr. Garadev's mighty arm muscles left an impression not only on her husband's face, but on the entire room. The force of her strike caused the candle to fall down from the holder, and in seconds the carpet was alight and the whole corner of the room in flames. Yes, for the most ferocious beast in this world is neither a violent lion nor a vengeful woman, but fire. And in this room, the ferocious beast bared its claws and ran amok. Eloquently put, my dear fellow. So you see, there is one conclusion here. After the sparks of marital discord flew, this room was the scene of a fire. Mr. Shams, sir, I salute you! Siya lucu banget sih ini. Kuat banget. Deduction complete. Elementary, my dear. Well, wheels on. It's these dashed long winter nights, you know, nothing to do but read in front of the fire. Luckily, there's a jolly good second-hand bookshop just around the corner. Buy all my old novels there. And in the pages of one particular novel, you discover some rather illicit material, for which you will admonish you harshly, it seems. Don't know about admonish. Demolish might be rather closer to the mark, and base is most certainly a nap. Here we go again. And the carpet wasn't destroyed by fire when a candle fell on the floor. Afraid to say what happened in the blink of an eye, you know. The whole place filled with smoke, couldn't see a bloody thing. I was caught between the old stakes rage and the raging flames. You paint a torrid picture, sir. One that would have been most entertaining. That's sympathy for ya. Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. The bloody furniture started going up as well. We have to hide the mess behind the screen for the time being. Over here, Mr. Gorinap? Well, you have nothing more to hide now, if you allow me. Oh. I had all my favorite old novels in that case, but as soon as the fire got hold of them, that was it. Whoosh! Up in the smoke. Gosh! Then the wife started hurling things at me. What a terrible sight it must have been. Here was I, back up against the window under heavy enemy fire, with Zenjiri books and coming 10 to the dozen. Worst of it is I lost my favorite book called The Lion's Sprite. The Lion's Sprite? Oh yes, your notorious love of big cats coming true again. I assure you, the title didn't influence my choice in the slightest. So the poor man really did lose something dear to him as a result of the ferocious beast rampage. Mr. Shaw's deductions turned out to be correct once again. It can only be described as a great British wonder. I tell ya, it was total carnage, flames everywhere and the old stick in full cattle. Out of interest, what time of day was that? Not sure I can remember, it was 2 days ago now. Let's see, around 5 o'clock I think? So at exactly the same time as a terrifying incident was unfolding outside your window on the street below. Even more terrifying on the inside, I can assure you. The whole black thing could have been flattened outside my window at that moment, and I would have noticed a dashed thing. Oh, really? Mr. Sholmes? Yes, Mr. Naruhodo, what can I do for you? Well, I think we've got to the bottom of Mr. Goridep's situation now, but what does it have to do with Mr. Natsuma's circumstances? I can't help you there, I'm afraid. What? My dear fellow, if you recall, I did say as much from the outset. I warned you that although I knew the retired army man to be hiding something, I could not be sure whether his secret would prove to be of relevance or not. I just knew you were going to say that. Now, Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't lose heart. Bear in mind that all things fall into one of only 2 categories, those relevant to the case and those not. That makes no sense to me. Well, no matter. It is of far greater importance that you make up your mind now. Sorry? Visiting hours at the prison will soon be over. Oh no, is it the time already? If you're to accept Mr. Natsumi's case, we have official paperwork to attend to. So that's it. No more time to think. Perhaps you'd like to betake yourself to bidding us farewell now? I must prepare supper for Mr. Garitap. Oh yes, I'm so sorry. Thank you both very much for your time. Suzuki-san will be waiting for us, and I'm going to have to give him an answer. Oh wait. It's time, Mr. Naruhodo. We must hurry back to the prison. Yeah, I know. Let's hell a care. Oh. What's the matter? It looks like something's going on over there in front of the Garidep's house. What? I know thee not, old man, falls with thy prayers. What is this, man? What? Who are you calling old man? You're all looking needy pimini. There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are draped in your philosophy. Who's this Horatio fella, eh? What are you on about? Excuse me? Eh, what day? Why now? I'm sorry, it just looked as though there might be some problem here. And my associate here, Mr. Yunus Kinahodo, is a lawyer, you see? Hey, hello, yeah? What? If I can be of any assistance, I'd be happy to help. I'm from Japan, but I have studied English law. Fine, I'll be on my way for today, but you mark my words. This ain't over yet. Get fit to a nunnery. Do I look like a blooming nun to ya? What the hell? If I have learned a lot of things from this game, this guy looks like a suspect. This guy smells like killer. He smells stinky. I do hope you're not injured. Oh, very sir maiden. Though, oh, it's so gentle. Thank you. What was that all about? There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are draped in your philosophy. I'm not Horatio either. Forgive the inquiry, sir, but are you a lodger here in the guarded residence? Oh, fair sir maiden, thou art so right. Yes, I do dwell in this humble abode. Mr. Guarded mentioned that he had another lodger, didn't he? This must be the man. Do you happen to know the other lodger who lives on the first floor? Oh yes, a gentleman named Natsume. Oh, my words, the poem is in my battle of words. Ne'er could there be. Sorry, battle, did you say? This guy probably smells like strong perfume, yeah, and not the nice type either. Who is the stronger, Hamlet or Macbeth? Mr. Natsume has a spark long into the night. I see. I don't fully understand, but it seems Mr. Natsume and this gentleman are acquaintances at least. So, fair maiden, so good gentlemen. I can tarry here no longer. Very well. I don't really understand him, but I think he's returned to his room. It seems he's unaware of what's happened to Mr. Natsume, so he can really help us. With Sasaki-san and that man as lodgers, the Gary Dep house is certainly full of eccentrics. Anyway, I'll go and find a carriage. Yes, I'm sure Mr. Natsume is eagerly waiting our return. Let's hope we can get to the prison before visiting hours are over. Oh, it's you! You're here! You came! Look, I'm still in Mr. Nerdholo Square! I can't believe you came back! I'm so touched! We are so sorry to have kept you waiting, Mr. Natsume. Oh no, think nothing of it. Relax. If I were a cat, I would purr with pleasure at the company of such fine compatriots. Noble, assuring, never failing, Nipponese! Oh no, let's not get carried away. Oh, I quite agree. There is nothing more reassuring than the familiarity of one's native land. On the other hand... What is he doing over here? It is true friendship transcending international borders that one truly appreciates the fact. Such is my belief, at least. It's you! The miserable rotten spy! Herlock Sholmes! Mr. Schultz, what are you doing here? I have no intention of doing anything per se, save observing, of course. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Schultz? While having on some curious reading material in a gloomful room and having unmasked the secret identity of the eccentric pair, I decided I should drop in on my way home to see how our divested friend is faring. Gloomful room? At least your accommodation here offers a window, my dear fellow. In that sense, it is a superior option. Anyway, I must commend you on your taste in books. My day has been a delight and cost me not a penny. Are you? How dare you? Herlock Sholmes! I've had it. I'm through. I'm at the end of my rope. I should never have come to Great Britain. It was a terrible mistake. Haunted by spirits in those accursed lodgings, no doubt my luck will be cursed in tomorrow's trial as well. My whole life is bedamned! What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? He mentioned it once before, didn't he? That his lodgings were cursed, I mean... And there is much truth in Mr. Moustache words. What? Curse is a wholly appropriate description, I would say, for the man's lodgings and indeed for tomorrow's trial. What's that supposed to mean? Mr. Natsume, what did you mean by what you said just now about the trial tomorrow being cursed? Oh no, why are you looking so grave? You're making me nervous. I was just getting carried away, that's all. I didn't mean anything by it. Oh, I see. That's really agitated him. You don't mean the trial really is cursed somehow? Are you referring to the prosecutor, the Reaper of the Bailey? The Reaper? Oh no, what do you mean? Please tell me. Summarize this succinctly in 60 salient words. No defendant has ever survived in trial in which the Reaper stands for the prosecution ever. Oh my god, this can really be true. That was 16 words exactly. Is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yesterday, Mr. Naruhodo successfully defended someone against the Reaper. But then, after the trial was over, the defendant passed away in unusual circumstances. Mr. McGilder. What? I'm impressed, Mrs. Sato. You have an eye for detail. Actually, the Lord Chief Justice told us. Mr. Sholmes, surely it can't be that having failed to have the accused convicted, Lord Von Zix killed the man himself? Oh no, he couldn't have, surely? Oh, ha, ha, ha. You have some wonderful notions. Sorry? The man isn't a mass murderer. He's a court prosecutor, my dear fellow. Oh, yes. Why, of course he is. Of course he is. Dan, why are you trying to scare me? It could be said, however, that the real truth about the man is even more terrifying than your hypothesis. What on earth do you mean by that? Von Zix is quite exceptional man. However, in London courts of law, exceptional does not equate to winning every case with exception. Oh, that's good. Suzuki-san looks like he's going to cry tears of joy. As you are no doubt aware, in a British criminal trial, there is both a judge and a jury. The judge officiates based on the letter of the law, whilst the jury offers public opinion and common sense. And it's an excellent system whereby the defendant's guilt is considered from several points of view. However, public opinion in particular is somewhat easily manipulated. Right. Criminals and corrupt lawyers for that matter can use it to their advantage, by any means at their disposal, contriving evidence, calling imposters as witnesses, and so on. By such underhand means, those who would want to are able to sway the jury, which means that even in the light of irrefutable evidence, the prosecution can fail. But it means the wrong verdict can be passed. And sadly, it's from time to time, my dear madam. It is simply the reality of the situation. That's alright. However, those indicted by Lord Von Zix can't escape justice. Their fate is sealed. Oh my! Though the adjudication may see them leave the courtroom with their freedom, within months they all disappear. It is most striking. Did they disappear? But how? By all men have been misfortune, sir. Perhaps they are trampled under a passing carriage. Perhaps they fall into the Thames and drown. Perhaps they are suddenly overcome by a raging fever, or perhaps attacked by a high white man. Oh no no no. All examples of the reality of events here in London, I'm afraid, Mr. Naruhodo. I knew it. I'm a dead dodo done for, doomed. When you said accursed logics before, you were referring to your room at Mr. Goridev's house, I assume. Do you mean to say you believe the place is cursed? It's been a year now since I came to Great Britain, but only been in London a week before I started to notice strange feelings in myself. They didn't take long then. Everywhere I looked, there were foreign faces staring at me, laughing behind my back. I was sure people were talking about me. I started to become nervous about going outside. They were always staring at me, all the time, from dawn till dusk. So I shut myself away in my room, but even that didn't help. The fear wouldn't go away. You must have been very lonely, having been away from your homeland for such a long time. I've had to move a number of times, most recently to that room on Briar Road a week ago now. Yes, why did you choose there? It seems a little inconvenient. The rent is cheap. I have so little money. It appealed to me straight away. Of course, I asked why it was so affordable. The landlord just simpered and said, "The room is cursed." Oops! He quickly tried to cover his mistake, but it was too late. So I told him, "If you have something to say, then say it. But if not, don't mention it in the first place." Yes, well said. But it was true. It was all of the true. You mean the room really is cursed then? Ever since I moved into that windowless hellhole, my sleep has been plagued with nightmares. I awake feeling as though I'm being choked to death. And in my waking hours, people are stabbed in front of me as I walk down the street. I'm branded a killer, thrown in prison. Nobody wants to know me. I'm surrounded by scary, sinister spirits. I feel like he can't sleep because he doesn't have enough ventilations. Like there's not enough air for him to breathe, and that's why he's having nightmares perhaps. If only there was someone just present on my side. Can no one find it so hard to believe in me? Really, no one at all? To believe, yes, to believe. Remember what Kazubro said. Believe in your client. Mr. Sholmes? Me, Mr. Naruhodo? Pray, what can I do for ya? It's about the case on the SS Burya, if you recall. The Burya. Ah, that case. The one with the snake. Well, yes. I was a suspect, but you believe in me and listen to my side of the story. Probably something to do with the ghost matter. Yeah, maybe that too. And you helped us to investigate. I did I? Interesting. What I want to know is, why don't you believe me? I see, yes. You mean... because you were a grimly dressed, shady Eastern fellow found with the victim in the locker room? Well, if you like, yes. I'm a little surprised that the answer requires explanation, my dear fellow. It's quite simple, really. You say I didn't do it. But I could have been lying. Surely you must have had your doubts. You must have suspected me a little. I think perhaps you have misunderstood. I neither recall believing in you, nor in that which you were telling me. What? You see, the one things I believe in are those I choose to believe in. What? What do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? I make up my own mind about what is to be believed and what is not. If I should like to believe in something, I do. Your circumstances can hang as far as I am concerned. But I could have betrayed your trust. In that case, I should have made an elementary error of my judgment, nothing more. Betrayal of trust is an overused excuse in my opinion. Meaning? Whether or not one should trust another is, in the final analysis, down to oneself. Man, this is danganronpa shit. It is a matter of whether or not one can trust oneself. Yes, he's right! He's right! Welcome student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire? Whether or not I can whether or not I can believe myself. Stop showing me Kazubro! I cannot! A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. Kazubro! You were so right, Kazuma! I wanna cry. Stop showing me him. Dang it. can't move on. Top 10 anime death that I will never be able to move on is Kazuma's death probably. Well, my dear fellows, it is time we were leaving. I believe already. Visiting hours are over. The guard will be here shortly to escort us out. There is a restaurant near here that serves excellent trout. Would you care to join me? Oh dear, there is never enough time, is there? Mr. Natsume, if you'd like, in the trial tomorrow, I'd be happy to represent you. Well, welcome student, Mr. Naruhodo's quarter. As I said, I only experienced a British courtroom for the first time yesterday, and although the man I was representing was found not guilty, I lost sight of something crucial. Something crucial? What to believe in? The defendant, justice, or the truth? How to believe even. But I think I finally worked it out. I've decided I must believe in myself above all else, to trust my instincts. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. And my instincts are telling me that you, Mr. Natsume, are innocent of this crime, and it's imperative that we prove that in court. Welcome to the Mr. Naruhodo's court. I will fight for innocence until the bitter end, with every weapon available to me. So I hope you'll permit me to represent you tomorrow. As I said when we first met, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who will listen to me in my native tongue. Of course, Mr. Natsume. It will be fair to say, Mr. Naruhodo, that your mind was in many ways made up from the outset. You merely needed the events of today to fully realize it. Yes, I think you're right about that. It's been a roundabout journey, but I got there in the end. Miss Sato? Yes? Would you be willing to stand by my side tomorrow and help me in court? Absolutely. As I said this morning, you may consider me your personal judicial assistant. Yay! The shocking events of yesterday's trial still weigh heavily on my mind, but it's time to stop looking backwards. Kazuma believed in me, and Mr. Shaw believes in me now too. So it's time that I learn to believe in myself. Suzuki-san has no one, he's all alone, so it's my job to help him, to fight his corner, tomorrow, in the courtroom, with all the strength I can muster. Let's go! Man, I really do feel bad for Mr. Soseki though. Like, he's really alone in here. Imagine being like alone in a foreign land and nobody trusts you. It's so sad. Alright then, well, I guess that's all for today. It's been 3 hours. And I have to like stop it in a spot where I think I will remember, like the checkpoint. If I don't stop it at the checkpoint, I probably not gonna remember what will happen. Oh look, it's the prison. Interesting, huh? Oh well. Ohazura semuanya. Thank you guys everyone for watching me playing the greatest Eternity Chronicles. I really have fun in this game. There's a lot of like what moments in this game, basically even more than the previous ones. I feel like sure, the previous Ace Attorney series are a lot of them are mind-blowing, but I think this one has a special place in my heart because I keep like getting what? There's a lot of unexpected things happening in this game. Yeah. Sure. In short, I love this game. Yeah, this game is special. Anyway, thank you everyone. Have a good night, and don't forget to check my schedule if you want to know when I'm streaming or what game I'll be streaming. Feel free to check my schedule. I posted it in my YouTube community post and in my Twitter as well. And if you check the schedule, there is a little something in the schedule that you might want to see. And I hope that you guys will look forward to it. And do not worry, it's not something like negative. It is something positive, I swear. So please look forward to it, and I hope that you guys will, I don't know, I am really excited. There's a lot of things that's gonna happen next week, and I'm really excited. I cannot wait to show you guys what I've been preparing all this time, you know. So yeah, I hope that you guys are looking forward to it as well. I'll see you guys in the next stream. Azura Cecillia signing out. Ciao ciao. Thank you everyone. Have a good night. Dadah.